Thanks to Printify for sponsoring today's video. In the world of being a print-on-demand seller, when you first get started, there truly are so many things that you have to learn from the get-go. It can feel super overwhelming and like there's so many missteps you can take. Well, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the best tips that I've learned in my last few years as a successful print-on-demand seller, many things that I wish I knew from the very beginning. That way, you can avoid some of the major pitfalls and be really successful a lot faster. Now, some of these may be tips that you have already heard, but I guarantee there are at least a few that you haven't heard anywhere else or are a little bit different than many people out there. So let's just dive right into it. Now, one of the first pieces of advice that I want to give to a lot of different print-on-demand sellers is that you should have some kind of tunnel vision when you are starting this print-on-demand process. Now, I myself am a big proponent of trying new things, of going after new trends, of expanding to other products in your print-on-demand business. However, I see so many people falling into the pitfall of when they first get started having kind of shiny object syndrome. So whenever there is something new, a new opportunity, a new niche, a new type of product, they go and immediately start trying to really get that new thing to work. And they only stick with it for a little bit. Maybe they post 5, 6 new designs, and then something else comes along and they're going to try that because they didn't have success with the last thing. So as a print-on-demand seller, I think it is very, very vital that you are giving each thing that you're trying enough time to actually have success. I see so many sellers quit way too soon when they could have just stuck out what they are doing, and eventually the compound effects of their effort are going to lead them to success. One of the big things that I see a lot of people doing if they're selling on a place like Etsy and they are partnered with a production partner like Printify. So Printify has so many different products that they offer. And a lot of times people, they get really excited about the new things that they have, about other products that they've never tried. So they fill their Etsy stores with maybe 2 sweatshirts, with 5 mugs, with a bunch of t-shirts. Maybe they have even some stuffed animals, they have jewelry, they have journals, but they haven't filled their store with a bunch of one type of product. Now, print on demand, there definitely is a lot more nuance than this, but in some ways it is a numbers game. So if we can stick out one product, keep adding things every single day, eventually we are going to find products that are best sellers for us and lead to a lot of sales. So as a new seller, I think it's really important that you are going to limit yourself to just a couple really good products. Now, a lot of the ones that people stick with at the beginning are going to be a t-shirt. I love the Bella and Canvas 3001, some kind of sweatshirt or hoodie, and maybe some kind of mug or drinkware item. Those are really solid print-on-demand items to sell. However, you could have the same kind of tunnel vision and just say, okay, I'm only going to sell straw cups. I'm not going to even think about adding any other products until I have 400 straw cup listings. That way you can really get good at what you're doing and hopefully eventually have those best-selling items in that particular category. So if you're feeling like you're always hearing about new things, just block that out and stick with what you're doing for a good amount of time. Definitely over 100 listings would be my suggestion, but you could even go for more before you tried your hand at something else. Because if we're always switching up what we're doing, we are not going to have that success because we're not giving our products enough time and we're not giving ourselves enough time to become good at that particular thing. So that is one of my biggest pieces of advice, is have that tunnel vision and really commit to what products you are doing. Now, my next big piece of advice that I would give new and more experienced sellers both is that you should be doing everything you can to transform niches and trends when you find them. So I talk all the time about how important it is to be finding these niches with high demand and low competition. But even when people can achieve this, I see them slipping into the pitfall of just copying exactly what they see someone else doing. So maybe they find a trending phrase and it's on a blue shirt with kind of a script font. So even though they aren't copying the exact design, they are making a really similar one with similar fonts, similar colors, a similar style. However, I think that one of the biggest keys to my success in print on demand was always looking for a way that I could transform what is doing well. So for example, say I was doing research on Merch Informer and I found a trending design or a trending phrase. I am going to take that phrase and see how I can do something really different. So a lot of times maybe that's going to be a black t-shirt with some white block style lettering on it. And so an easy thing that I can do to just transform that design is I can put it in maybe a more colorful font or with some graphic elements, add those to it. So you always want to be looking for ways you can transform things. And that is very true if you are finding niches and ideas on places like YouTube. So for example, even on my channel, I share a lot of amazing niches in this channel and in my newsletter, which you can subscribe to down below. But a mistake that I see a lot of people making is they see that inspiration, and instead of taking that idea, taking that general niche, and creating something really unique and new that's bringing their own perspective to it, they just copy exactly what is already selling well. Now, the reason that doesn't typically work is if someone is going on a place like Amazon or Etsy and they see two designs that are virtually identical. Maybe they have a little bit different font, there's slightly different variations. They are probably going to go for the item that is already best selling. It has some reviews, it is ranking a little bit higher. Then scroll maybe to the back pages of Amazon and click on that new design that they've already really seen. So we want to be looking for ways that we can stand out, because in print on demand, a lot of times people are making impulse purchases, they are buying gifts. So if someone finds something that is unique, they're going to pick that item. So we want to always be looking for ways that we can transform, update, or make better what we see that is already doing well. Now, another big piece of advice that I want to give to a lot of print on demand sellers is to tell them that holidays in themselves are not actual niches. So I think it is a fabulous idea to be selling holiday type designs starting a few months before that actual holiday. I am a big proponent of using this strategy in my print on demand business. However, I see a lot of people making the mistake of creating maybe some Christmas designs that have just really generic Christmas elements on them. Maybe they say Merry Christmas in a really cute Christmas font and they have Santa on them. But in the sea of Christmas designs, that one design is competing against hundreds of thousands, if not millions of other designs. So to really be successful in a holiday niche, you are typically going to need to cross that with something else. So I have tons of examples in my cross niching guide that you guys can get for free down in the description. But what I mean by this is taking something like Christmas and then crossing it with a niche that already does well for you. So maybe you create career designs and then you found that the speech pathologist designs you're selling are doing really well. Well, I think it's super valuable to add a Christmas twist or a Halloween twist to all of those designs. Instead of trying to just sell generic Halloween designs and generic Hanukkah designs, generic Christmas designs, generic New Year's designs, we always want to see how we can actually sub-niche that to appeal to a way smaller audience that is still very interested. So if you're feeling really discouraged that none of your holiday designs are getting any traction, it's probably because you aren't targeting a specific enough customer. Now, the next tip that I want to share with a lot of new print-on-demand sellers is twofold. So a lot of times people get really discouraged when they first get started because they really do not know what niches they should be doing, what kind of things they should start with. So a great way to start print on demand is actually to target a niche that you are very personally familiar with. So this is actually how I found a lot of my initial success. I had a niche that I was very passionate about, that I knew a lot about the target audience, and so I was able to create some really specific designs and market them to that audience. Now, everyone really has some key insider knowledge that they have just based on things like your career, your hobbies, things that you love talking about. Those are all fantastic niches that you can really just try your hand at when you're first getting started. So spend some time making designs in those niches. However, this is kind of where the twofold part comes in. So a lot of times people get really stuck on the idea that they have to personally love every single product that they are creating. So maybe you spend some time working in niches that you know a lot about. Now it's totally okay to pivot and start working on things that you have no personal interest in. A lot of times as print-on-demand sellers, we're going to have to get over the fact that we aren't going to personally love, want to purchase, or wear some of the items that we are putting out on the wider marketplace, and that is totally okay. Eventually, we are going to run out of ways that we can tap into maybe our own personal experience, our personal knowledge. So if we have to pivot into something else, that's totally fine. So as a new seller, I think you could definitely start with targeting a niche that you really love and know well. And then down the line, it's totally great to pivot to other niches that are doing well, even if you don't have that particular insider knowledge in. Now, my next piece of advice is if you are selling on a marketplace like Etsy, you need to make sure that you are actually making enough profit on each item that you aren't losing money. So it's really important to go with a production partner that has some of the lowest prices available for almost all of their products. Now, that is where the sponsor of today's video, Printify, comes in. They are my production partner. They fulfill all of my orders on Etsy. I think they are just a fantastic company to work with. So if you haven't ever tried selling with them, I'm going to link all of their information down below. You can create a free account today and start selling on Etsy or some other marketplaces. Now, if you're looking for even more tips and print-on-demand advice, I would definitely check out this video next. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.